y'all. Welcome back to the Let's Grow podcast. I'm your host, Lex, and I also have another Lex with me today as my guest speaker. So we're not even going to wait. I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we're going to get into the combo.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexis Britten. I am the owner of Events by Bella & Co. and Bella's Pralines and Pastries. I'm also an educator, so I'm an educator by day and a serial entrepreneur by night. And thank you, Lex, for having me today.
Thank you for coming. I am super excited to sit with my panelists for this year's Cultivate Conference and really dive into your story, dive into who you are, as well as your greatest transformation. As you know, this year's theme is going to be embracing transformation, and we're going to be talking about that across both panels. The first panel is going to be about embodying transformation, where we talk about the more internal changes that take place, right? But the other panel is going to be about activating transformation, where you are stepping out into action and you are leading the change in your life, right? You're not just a participant, but you're actually like walking it out, right? So, Alexis is going to be on the activating transformation panel because she is a serial entrepreneur as well as an educator. And I think it's incredibly important that we talk about how those two intertwine as well as get to know more about your transformation and what has God shown you in your journey of life and kind of just how you got to where you are today. So, tell us about you, how you got here, and then if that also is like your greatest transformation, then tell us about that too.
Right. Okay, so I think my greatest transformation started in 2019. In 2019, the doctor diagnosed me with endometriosis, which I never speak over my life. I don't claim, even when I'm talking to them, I'm like, okay, girl, I hear you, but they also diagnosed me with cyst. And so they told me that, well, when I was asking them, what is endometriosis, they were like, oh, it's an incurable cancer. And I'm like, girl, what? All I heard was cancer. I'm like,
Right.
baby, what? And so since then, I started to reach out to, seek help and do my own research. I ended up finding a holistic doctor in Florida, and he has been treating me since, still to this day. I go see him every summer. So that's really when my transformation started, and I really started to become this person that you see now. Like, God had me in the baby, listen. I was just like, okay, God, I don't know what this means. I don't know what it is, but I'm believing for you to heal me. And at the time, like, although, I'm saying this, part of me was not, I'm like, I'm saying this, but I don't really know. It was like that lack of faith.
Mm-hmm.
But my
Yeah.
faith now, baby, you can't tell me nothing. Because who? You could say whatever you want to say. I'm not speaking that over my life, right? And so I feel like that was really, a big pivotal moment for me. And I thank God for it, as crazy as that may sound, because I feel like if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so um, yeah, I mean, I could definitely go into more detail about it, but baby, I could go on and on.
But I think it's important to highlight the fact that you participated in that, right? Like you got this diagnosis and you were like, yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
not really accepting that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take it a step further and I'm going to go in and I'm going to seek other resources, other help, second opinions, third opinions, whatever it is that you needed in order to take action in the system, like in the situation, and really go to God and say,
Yes.
God, I'm believing you to heal me because your word says that you heal me.
This is what I also told myself during that time, because actually, like, when they diagnosed me with that, I was actually rushed to the emergency room, but they thought our cyst had ruptured. Okay. I remember, oh my gosh, girl, I was so scared. I'm like, y'all, please don't let nothing happen to me. That's all I kept saying. Please don't let nothing happen to me, right? Went to the emergency room, and that's when they found the cyst or whatever. And they told me that I would have to have surgery to get it removed. They tried to put me on birth control, all this and that. But I was like, no, like, I just refused to accept that. But I said all that to say that my body also, like, broke out. Like, I had patches, skin patches all over under my arms. Like, girl, if I show you these videos. But, okay, I just said I fell into depression, anxiety. It was bad. And I think it was because, like, I'm like, oh, gosh, she going to see my skin. She going to see how I look. She going to think something wrong with me. Like, people going to think something wrong with me, right? But when God healed me, I was like, dang, it wasn't so bad after all. God really had to put me through that. He really pulled me out some dark places now. Now, one affirmation I really said to myself, I was like, God, if you heal me, I promise to help other women to know that they can heal themselves too. Now, although I haven't really came out with my story, I haven't really shared that. Like, this is really my first time, like, actually sharing, like, hey, this is what happened to me. This is what caused my transformation. Now it has me like, it's been on my heart to share, like publicly share, but I just feel like God said this year it was gonna be the year of authenticity. And so just really showing people, why do you eat the way you do, so they could stop saying, girl, you just eat like a little rabbit, you so small, you just, what you doing? Because they don't know. But yeah.
I love that we talked about authenticity, because this is something that we talked about when we did our panels lunch. So all the panelists went out to lunch, and I was able to help them to like get to know each other, but also just explain and flesh out more of the vision for this year's conference. And that was something that we talked about as believers, we have the authority to be authentic. We have the authority to be ourselves unapologetically and say like, no, this is me, and me being authentic will reach the next woman, because they're not going to find me if I'm pretending to be someone else. Like they looking for me. They're looking for who you designed me to be, right? Because we always talk about like, okay, God, I want to be who you made me to be, but are we really walking in that? So I love that you brought about that authenticity piece in that, because I think it's really important going into, yes, the conference, but like going into this season of life, going into the climate of this world, it's really important for us to be ourselves so that our people can find us, right?
Right.
Tell me about your community in the process of this journey, because I know you brought up like people saying like, oh, you eat like a little rabbit when you started making these changes. How did your community support you during your journey of transformation to say like, I'm not doing this and there's a better way?
I feel like, well, one thing about it, my community, they've been here through every series of my life, right? They may say comments like that, but they also support everything that I do. What I feel like it has done is allow me to grow closer to people, because it's like, okay, she's not just this person online, we're relatable, but not only that, it's like, I want to know why she's doing it. Like, so when they reach out to me and ask like, okay, why do you eat like this, or why do you, it's like, now I could go into running my mouth telling them like, hey, I eat like this because look, I'm taking this burdock root and sarsaparilla because it cleanses your liver and it's good for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could go into detail and educate them, and I always love educating and serving people. So honestly, it's really been a blessing in disguise. Like I said, did that kind of answer?
It definitely answered my question, but it also made me think of another question. I love that you brought up your passion for like educating people, because you are an educator, you're a teacher, right?
Right.
But also I think that the health scare actually was an invitation for you to educate on another level,
right?
Because like when you think about it,
right,
you're an educator by day. Sure, you're a teacher. You are changing the lives of children. But God said, and that's not it. Like, it doesn't end here. This is practice. This is you walking it out. This is practice every single day for what you'll be teaching. So I think that's really affirming for you to say like, you are where you're supposed to be. You're an educator at heart.
Yeah.
He's called you to be an educator, but don't limit yourself to just like, education from a youth standpoint, but also educating the women that are gonna walk the same path as you, because many women, especially our women, they will settle for the diagnosis and say, I don't have to make any changes. I'm going to take the medication for the rest of my life.
Right.
And I'm just going to live at this level. But God, He didn't design for us to settle for one level of life. Like, that's not how this works.
Yeah. Right.
So when you invited Him in, He said, Thank you. Now we can really work.
Yes.
Now let's really get some stuff done and really like. I feel like he showed you in the midst of the health scare, in the midst of the depression and the anxiety that came from that health scare, and coming out of that depression and that anxiety. I think that's really, that's God being God. Because what he do, he really does. Like, he has a funny way of inviting us into change, but not telling us what it will look like.
Right.
And I think we talked about this in a previous episode about really enjoying the process and walking out that process and not being so focused on a destination that is like, when I get here, I've made it.
Yes, yes.
Once I get here, it's over. I don't have to do nothing. I'm good. But in reality, that's not life. Life is not a goal. Yeah. The goalposts will be moved in every season of your life where you say, oh, this was so that I can do this.
Yes.
This was training ground for what's to come. So that's really good. Yes. And I know, like, we were talking about community, and you were saying that they supported you, and in them supporting you, you were able to be authentic, right?
Right.
Tell me about your journey as an educator. Does that allow you to be authentic, or does that allow you to, well, let me rephrase that. Does it push you to be authentic, or is it just kind of like easy? Like, I'm here to be your teacher and that's it.
Okay, so one thing about me, I'm the same person on and offline. In front my children, outside of them. Like, I'm not switching up just because, And see, the thing is, even with them, because I'm just a little bit older than them, they don't expect me to say the things that I say. They don't expect me to open my Bible and read my word or quote scripture to them or, tell them about things, because they're like, you just a few years older than us. Like, so how can you tell us, But I think it's so beautiful because I like that they don't expect that, because now I feel like I'm really serving them. Like, it gives them a different glimpse of, wait, hold on. She not just, she really teaching us, like showing us wisdom, like, let me listen, right? Which ultimately is serving them, is helping them for their future, Yeah. So repeat that question, because I was going somewhere else with that. I have something else to say.
I was gonna say, I think the question was, and I do this a lot, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
The question was like, tell me about your journey as an educator, and does it allow you to be authentic? And you said yes.
Okay, so it also allows me, like, it pushes me to be even more authentic. I'm an introvert. I know it may not seem like it, because I have my businesses, but baby, I'm going in my room and mind my business, okay? But just being a teacher, like how you said earlier, you were like, God put you in this moment because he wants you to educate this, and that. When I went into teaching, first of all, I know I was called to that position. Let me just make that clear, okay? Now, I know I used to play teacher growing up with my brother, okay? But I know I was called to it because how everything flowed. Like, I didn't have to do nothing. Like, every opportunity I have gotten has just flowed. But really, like, more so, it pushes me to be even more authentic and just speak out and voice myself more, because at one point in life, like, I would just be very reserved and not really talk. But yeah, so I actually I'm grateful to be in the position that I'm in, honestly.
I love that, because I think sometimes when we accept the call or the assignment from God, we feel like we got to put on, and we got to be our best self, and we got to be like on it and perfect and like a soldier. And in reality, he just wants us to be us.
Yes.
So that the people that are looking for us can find us. So that was really insightful when it comes to, like, you even knowing this since you were younger. Like, yeah, you used to play teacher, but now you know for a fact, like, I've been kind of set on this all along. I'm very similar in the way of, like, I played teacher, but, like, I just always was, like, a giving person. I was always a person that wanted to serve and really just, like, whatever you need, how can I help? And then I turn around and become a social worker. Like, it was, like, it was always kind of set for me to know that I would be in a serving profession. I've always known that. I knew that I wanted to be a therapist, but I didn't know that the route would be social work. Yeah. But it was the same route. It was like same destination. We know what we want to do. Yeah. I just had to adjust the way that I looked at how I go about doing it. So I think that I can relate to that in a way of like, when you know, you know.
Yes, and when you ask God, like something that's in my daily prayer, I say, God, use me as your vessel, whatever that looks like. I think that's really allowed me to just flow, knowing I'm in alignment with who and what he has called me to do. Just having that knowing. But yeah, I know a lot of people may ask, like, how did you get to this point? Or how did you know? But it's like, serve your way until you figure out what you want to do. Yes, I played teacher. No, I didn't want to be a teacher because I'm like, they don't get paid a lot of money. But when you take that out your head with the money thing and just really focus on serving God, I say every day, Lord, if I've helped one person, I've done my part. So just focus on serving and showing up for him. He gonna do the rest. I promise you.
Exactly. So let's get into this entrepreneurial journey, because if you're an entrepreneur, you know it's real ghetto. Yes, real very. Ghetto out here. Okay. How did you get into entrepreneurship?
So I have a friend named Shimon. Back in 2017, her sister was looking for some treats for a Valentine's Day party. January-ish. It was end of January, February. And I was like, oh, I can make some. And so I just really started just playing with the stuff. Girl, the stuff looked a hot mess, but it tastes good now. It didn't look good, but it tastes good. And so I really just started perfecting my craft after that. Definitely shout out to her because she was definitely the first one. Then she started telling her friends, and then that's how all that came about, right? But yeah, that's really how I got into it. That's how I got into the sweets. Okay. Now, as far as the decor, I decorated a party for my grandmother, rest her soul, and my grandfather, rest his soul. And ever since then, like, I went to Arkansas and did that. So I kind of was feeling myself. So I'm like, oh, girl, I just got on the road and did a party. Don't tell me nothing. But ever since then, I was like, okay, I actually like this. And then when knowing I have help in a community, it just kind of like fueled the fire. And then one of my daddy, who is one of my biggest helpers, he worked for free now. That's my free helper, okay? Shout out to my daddy. When he really just started helping and he's getting into different things when it comes to my event, like he's basically in tune with what I'm doing. You would be surprised because men like, girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? But when he really started getting into it, that kind of fueled my fire too, because it's like, dang, my daddy really believed in me. He really think I can make this a thing. So that's how I got into that. Even with the treats, like he wasn't into the treats like that. He would just say, oh, you do use a lot of time doing that. And my mama would be like, well, I'm gonna help my baby, like whatever, she was helping more with the sweets. But with just knowing, having both of them just really believe in me. Like my mama coming home from work, like, girl, I just gave somebody your business card, like they gonna be calling you today. I'm like, mama, who you done told? She's like, girl, I don't know, but they gonna be calling you. I'm like, okay, mama. But yeah, just having that knowing and just having people behind me just really fueled my fire.
Like they believe in me so I could do it. Yeah, I'm like that with my parents too. Man, my mom used to go to work and she used to be like, so and so ordered something. Make sure you have it in the bag so I can bring it tomorrow. Have all the women shop my boutique. And then like my dad, he is in the event industry as well as like he's a DJ. So like we have always been in the like event entertainment world essentially. And I used to help my grandmother decorate events and that kind of fueled my passion. So I do intimate events, but you do luxury. You do luxury. Like I would call you to do a wedding. Yeah. Just call me to do your little small birthday party. That's it. But I say all that to say like my dad was like, whatever, let's do it. Like let's do it. That's how my dad very is. Much like I believe in you. Yeah. Biggest fan. My parents are my biggest fans. 100%. Yes. So I'm listening to you talk about them and I'm like, that sounds like my parents. Because like, they don't play. Oh, they be real serious. Like, okay, you want to start this? What about these? Like when I first started my business, my boutique, I talked to all of them. Like my mom was like, okay, what we doing? When we doing? And my stepmom and my dad, like they asked me the hard questions. They were like, what you gonna name it? And make sure it's this. Make sure it's that.
How you gonna get the money from?
They really like helped me to say like they believed in me. Yeah. So them believing me was like, I can actually probably do this.
Something.
Let's
Yeah,
see. All right. So we talked about your journey through entrepreneurship. We talked about your journey as an educator. What would you say? Well, we already talked about your community. We talked about how supportive they are and how they impacted those journeys. Because that's what I was about to ask. I was about to say, how have they impacted both education and entrepreneurship? What I will say is, though, I want to know how the two tie in together. So, how do you tie in your by day career, profession, as well as your serial entrepreneur lifestyle?
Okay, so by day with me teaching, I teach business, entrepreneurship, I teach marketing, branding, all that. This is the stuff I actually teach at my job. So it complements both of my businesses because this is things that I'm doing in my businesses. So in turn, like with me teaching about this, I'm able to help my high schoolers, but I'm also able to, if I need assistance, if I need help, I'm able to hire them as well because I do have some of them that actually work for me. So that's how it complements each other.
I love that. Yeah. That works perfectly. It's like you are executing, but you're also teaching, which forces you to learn more.
Right.
Because you, at some point, you can't just keep teaching them the same thing over and over again. You have to go back and learn more in order to teach them more. Exactly. So that's very unique. And I honestly, I feel like every entrepreneur has the potential to be an educator in some way. Maybe not in a high school, but like, you know, just in general, like we all have some type of something in us that we can teach and we can reach other people and show them like how to go about this. So let's come back to the health journey and tell us a little bit more about what it took for you to make that transformation and transition. What did it take for you to say, I'm going to do this because I believe that God can help me?
Okay, so with me reaching out, my first step, my first order of business when all of this happened, after leaving the emergency room, like days later when I got better, I ended up going on YouTube. And one of the twins, I don't know if it's Tia or Tamara, you know, the twin sister, one of them actually had it as well. And I was listening to their story, and they were talking about how they changed their eating diets and just more, oh, excuse me, more so getting into details about the eating aspect. Now, from that, I found another lady on Instagram, and I DM'd her, and I'm like, oh, God, this wasn't nobody but you, because what if this lady don't respond? She got all these followers. Well, she ended up responding, and she gave me her holistic doctor's number, and I thought it was fake. I ended up calling him, and he answered, girl. I was like, oh my gosh. So when he answered, I ended up flying out to Florida, in St. Petersburg, Florida. Shout out to Dr. Yingling, because that is my holistic doctor, okay? Back to the transformational part, the eating habits. He diagnosed my body, like he was saying, you have stress from when you were in high school, 17 years old. People don't understand that emotions, that's when you know how the old folks say, stress will kill you. Stress will really kill you. Like, that ain't just no saying. That's 100%. For real. Like, he was like,
the body keeps the score.
The body keeps the score. Bottled up emotions, the food we eat, the clothing that we wear, what it's made out of, things absorbing into our skin. Remember, I mentioned like just outside pollutants. Like, people don't realize all of that stuff plays a role into your health and how you feeling. Even being around certain people with different energies, like this all plays a role into the health of your body. And so I said all that to say it took me changing my diet. I went on a gluten-free diet. I went on a dairy-free diet. And I cut out steak, hamburgers. Still to this day, I don't eat steak. I don't eat hamburgers. Like, more so, I don't eat red meat. I eat more so chicken, fish, and I make like quinoa. Mushrooms is more like my meat, and walnuts. So I just make a lot of different meals with that. So my biggest thing was the food, and then he gave me supplements like a liver detox, because people don't realize with us absorbing and ingesting all these, you know, different things, these toxins in the food, like our liver can get so compact, like it needs to filter through, and if it's not filtering through properly, that's what causes diseases. Like, everything is sitting in your body. That's why it's important to have a bowel. It's important for you to hydrate yourself on a cellular level with quality water, like spring water. So I would say it was the food, the natural supplements, and then mentally, your mental, that's the biggest thing too. Food, your mental, whatever you tell yourself is what it's gonna be.
No.
Like I said, I told my doctor I never claimed it. I still to this day don't claim it. Like I'm talking to you, but I'm telling you I didn't have that. I will never plant that seed in my head to allow it to marinate in my soul. Like I'm not about to do that. I know what God can do, and especially with me really being in my Bible more. God already done told me I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I am His child. He will heal my body, mind, and soul. Like I know this stuff. I stand firm. I'm anchored in that. So that's why I say you can't tell me otherwise. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. What I hear you saying is that you did your research.
Yeah.
You didn't sit in a pity party and say like, oh my goodness, I feel so bad for myself. Like, no, you legit got in the field.
Yeah.
And you were like, if I want to see a change, I'm going to make that change and I'm going to make it happen. And I think that is so important when we talk about change, transformation, transitions, because there can't be a change until this changes.
Yep.
You have to mentally say, I want to see a change and I'm going to do something about it before you could ever see it in real life, right? And I think it's so important that you did your research, even not knowing, right?
Not
like
knowing.
you had the courage to DM this lady and say like, hey, I see your story and I'm trying to find a holistic doctor. Who's your holistic doctor? You didn't know if that lady was going to respond to you, but you did it anyway because you were like, I don't really care at this point. I don't have anything to lose. All I want to do is figure this out and walk this out. So like you had the courage to take the action, to do the research, and to make the change.
Yep.
When we talk about change, I'm a person, I ain't gonna lie, I don't really like change.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Faith without work is dead.
Okay. So I am in, I wouldn't even say a season. I would say that I have to live my life embracing change because if I don't embrace it, I'm going to kick and scream like a child.
Yeah.
So I have made that mental shift, but I know how difficult it is to make that mental shift. Yeah. What can you say helped you to make it?
I feel like more so first, like I told you earlier, I was seeing it, but I really wasn't believing it in my heart. And I recently read in this book, it was like keep saying it until you believe it. I have affirmations. I said those affirmations every single day. I have health affirmations. I love my body. I am healed. God loves me. He will continue to heal me. Like my story will be somebody else's survival guide. Like I told myself this every single day until I believed it. Now I believe it, and now I can tell you I'm standing on all 10 on what he said, and can't nobody tell me otherwise. So just that constant reminder, constant going back in his word and pinpointing like, okay, if you know you need help with this, help with that, go to a scripture in the Bible and just, okay, put that under it. And tell that to yourself every day until you believe it, until it changes. Because it's going to happen. It's bound to happen. It's just a matter of when. And enjoy the process. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, they scared to embrace change. They scared to enjoy the process. But the process where you're being built is where you're being built. That's the best moment because it's building your character. So I just need people to understand that. So yeah.
I love that in all of these episodes, we have talked about the process and enjoying the process and saying, like, the process is the promise. So many times you hear people say, like, oh, I just want to get here. I just want to get to a particular destination of like the promise is a destination, but it's in reality, it's a journey. It's not about getting from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4. It's about what you take from each one. I just did a post on my story and I talked about the souvenirs that come with each destination, with each stop, right? Like, okay, in this season, I got wisdom. In this season, I got patience. In this season, I got knowledge. And you don't really think about those things if you're so busy complaining about where you are and complaining about, I don't want to do that. That's uncomfortable. Da, 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 da. Like, I had to really make a shift in my life to say, I'm going to embrace change. I'm going to look forward to transformation because if I don't, I'm going to stay stagnant and I'm going to stay in this one place and I'm going to be stuck and it's just not going to be fun because why would I want to be somewhere that God is not? If God told me to go here, it's either go there or stay here. But he going there.
Yeah.
So at some point, it really came down to like, do you really want to be in God's will?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like you have to look at his will and his way as law.
Yeah.
Ain't no going around that. You can do what you want to do, but he won't be there.
Find out. He gonna find
He
out
will
what
not
was
be
trying to
there.
say. Yes.
And I love that you included him in your entire process.
Oh, absolutely.
And you didn't stay in the dark place. Because I heard you say earlier, you said God got me a lot of, like, he got me out of dark places.
Yes.
So I think that's incredibly important to talk about and to highlight the fact of, like, he got me out of those dark places, but it took for me to make the move to do it, right?
Right. And not settle. And not, like, the doctors tried to prescribe me medicine and give me pills for anxiety and stuff, but I refuse. First of all, I'm a natural type of girl. Listen, okay? So to sit up here, and I don't like swallowing pills. You could ask my mama, like, she would be like, this girl ain't swallowing no pill, you better give her a liquid. So for them to try and throw this down, like, oh, you just depressed, here, take this, like I'm some type of test dummy, like, just take it. No, I'm not just taking it. So I refuse to settle. I refuse to allow them to project that onto me, and I refuse to just settle for just doing what they saying. Like, I'm like, God, it got to be another way, because ain't no way these doctors got the last say so on whatever this is, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, definitely. And I actually had a doctor who really was like, well, if you don't take what I'm giving you, then I don't know how you want me to help you. That was my last day there. I immediately dropped my profile from there and never went back, because as a doctor, why are you telling me this? Hey, it's been a journey, but baby, God didn't bring me through. He don't play about it, okay? He don't play about me, period. He has shown me that constantly, like, girl, I got you. Go sit down and just go through the process and understand what I'm doing. Understand that you are growing. You are in a constant stage of growth. So, yeah.
The process. Listen, if you've been listening to these episodes, you've heard us talk about the process at least once in every episode. So I just really want you to think about that. Sit with that. Let that marinate. Let it cook a little bit, you know. Let's talk about conference.
Okay.
This is going to be your first conference, and you're a panel speaker. How are you feeling about that?
I'm very excited. I'm very humbled. I'm very grateful. Like I told you before, like, I'm very grateful for you for even offering me the opportunity, because I have never, I'm an introvert, okay? And, you know, I be to myself. So for you to just ask me that, I'm just like, thank you, Lex. I appreciate you.
Of course. In all honesty, I just think that it's really important that we don't look at the perfect idea of what you see of people on social media. I think that we really need to dig into real lives. I think that if you are called to tell these women your story, then that means that there's a woman in that room waiting to listen, right?
I got chills.
So I just feel like it's incredibly important for me to be authentic in the people that I invite to speak to people. I want it to be an authentic conversation. I want us to comfortably talk about uncomfortable things, because with a theme like embracing transformation, I already know we're going to cry.
Girl, I'm up here trying to hold the tears back now. Like,
I know we're going to cry. I know it's going to be a lot, but it has to be a sense of community. It has to be a sense of security. And I really know, I haven't even known you that long, but I know you. And I know that you are a person, you are a servant at heart. You're going to serve regardless. So I don't have to worry about, are you going to be like too stuck up to be on a panel? Like, no, you're going to tell your story. You're going to be authentic about it. And you're going to make those connections at the same time.
Yeah.
Because there are going to be women that come up to you and say, I need to talk to you because they told me the same thing. And there are going to be women that want to kind of dive deeper into it. And I heard you say earlier, you said your story is going to be someone else's survival guide.
Yep.
That is so powerful.
Like it.
That is something that is very true. Like, when you gonna see it's another feeling. I cannot explain it or describe it. That's why I ask other people to describe it. I'd be like, how y'all felt that conference? It's a different kind of feeling. And I am just so excited for you to be able to tell your story, but for them to also receive it.
Yeah.
And I'm just, we're going to talk about it all. We're talking about all things growth, all things change. And for your panel specifically, a lot of that conversation is going to be around courage. because you had to have courage to make those changes.
Yeah.
You had to have courage to activate the transformation in your life, right?
Right.
So what are you looking forward to? What is the number one thing you like? I cannot wait for conference.
Honestly, I'm a girl's girl, okay? So I enjoy being around like-minded women. I look forward to that so much, like just connecting and just being around women and just loving on people. So I would say that's my number one thing. And then two, yes, knowing that my story will be somebody else's survival guide, just knowing that if I've helped one person, I've done my part and I know it's at least gonna help one person.
I'm so ready. Man, if you know me, this process, I'd be like, all right, God, it be me and him every time, every season when it's conference prep. It's conference prep. I'm just in constant and consistent prayer, and I pray that all will be well, and that the people that are in the room are the people that need to be in the room, and that they receive whatever it is for them that they get out of their room. I love what you said though about what you're looking forward to, because in my experience and the feedback that I have gotten from people, that's all of our favorite part. If you ask me my favorite part of conference is when I get on Instagram a week later and I see people commenting and calling each other my girl and friend and all this. And I'm like, y'all really made connections. Like, we are cultivating community. It's not just about a photo op.
Right.
You can take your pictures, you can be cute, you can do whatever that is, but at the end of the day, you leave here knowing somebody got your back.
Yep.
Knowing that you're not alone. Knowing that somebody else is kind of walking the same path that you walking. So I am truly excited for that. If you enjoyed this conversation, please let us know in the comments. Don't forget to do all the things, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to keep up with Lex, how do they keep up with you?
So my personal Instagram is abrittenk, ABRITTENK. And then my business Instagrams are Bellas_pralines and pastries and Events by Bella & Co. The links are all in my bio as well.
So keep up with her. If you got an event coming up, book my girl for your wedding, your birthday party, your proposal, the whole nine, your kid party, whatever you got going on, make sure you book her. I need some popcorn, so I'm going to book you too. Whenever I have something, I'm going to find a reason to get some popcorn, okay? But thank y'all for listening. If you want to keep up with me, of course, you know, at bosses.block and at lex.lux_ on Instagram. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Let's Grow podcast.